Faith didn't stop in Hebrews chapter 11. The story is still being written. What if heaven is watching your obedience? We don't need a pulpit to have an impact. Faith isn't loud, it's consistent. So radical generosity requires radical trust. Our judgment is, were we obedient? His obedience strengthens somebody else's belief.
You will either chase your dreams or you'll work for somebody who did.
Faith moves before fear disappears.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Crazy Unbelievable Faith. I'm your co-host, Brian Owen, alongside my wife, Kersha.
Hi.
Hopefully there's no food in my teeth as we've been eating in between episodes here. That's fine, though. That's how we roll. Welcome to our world. Like, we sandwich this in around kids watching TV, playing outside, whatever needs to happen. That's fine. That's just part of our day. So if you're not already actively a member of our community, please do so. We have some really cool things coming later this.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah. Subscribe to YouTube. Whatever you watch on, listen on, doesn't matter. Please actively do that, because we do have some really cool things coming out later in the spring and in the summer that we want to make sure you're top of that list to get information.
In the fall.
Oh, and in the fall. Wow. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. So today's episode is kind of the sequel to the one previously about biblical heroes. And today
Is modern heroes of faith.
Modern heroes.
This is how ordinary people has radical obedience.
Okay. All right.
Faith didn't stop in Hebrews chapter 11. The story is still being written. And in the last episode, I challenged you all to think about
Hebrews chapter 11, verse 41. If your name was in it.
By faith, your name was written.
Yeah.
What would you want it to say about you?
That's a great line just to put on your mirror. By faith, Brian did blah, 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 blah. By faith, you and that. I think that was a good way we left it. So hopefully you were able to do something with that. If not, go back, take a listen to that episode. It's really cool. It's 20, 25 minutes, something like that's not long. So, but today is modern heroes of faith.
Yes.
Okay.
What if heaven is watching your obedience?
Yeah.
What would you want the angels?
I think about, I know like you're talking about where you're going with the angel thing. I'm sorry, I cut you off of that. Go ahead.
What would you want the angels to see
Okay.
and praise?
I was thinking when we had been at business conferences in the past with Worldwide, specifically, they would say, would the business still exist based on the work that you're doing today? And that was like a gut check for people. And I think the same thing, it's applicable across the board. Would your business exist at the things you're doing today? Would that continue?
Would faith still exists?
Well,
without.
Correct. But I was going to finish my thought with this.
Sorry.
Would your at the rate you're working in your own business, is it still going to exist in 3 to 5 years? Is your church, by the activeness of your sure, we'll call that a word, by the activity, the commitment you're doing with your church, will your church still be around?
With how you serve.
With how you serve. There you go. Let's just take a while to get it out.
Sum it up.
My sugar must be low. I don't know. We'll go with that. But the same, your community, like, how involved are you in even your neighborhood? Are you the type of neighbor that you want your neighbors to be? Are you taking care of people? Are you encouraging people? Are you just saying hi? I don't know, just food for thought around that. Will things exist based on the effort you're putting in? Just came off of that. So
yeah, I like that.
I don't know where that came from. We'll go with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the next one? Your microphone's way off on the side too, by the way.
Well,
hopefully they can hear you.
I'm sure they can.
It's fine.
It's picking up.
Okay, fine. We'll go with that.
Okay. So
I have to help her with everything, people.
let's talk about being a quiet giver.
Okay. Philanthropy work.
Ooh.
Okay. All right.
There is a place in Franklin, Tennessee called Philanthropy. And it's the cutest store.
Wow.
They have a little place inside a store where you can go and you can write down your prayers, and they hang it up And at the end of the year, they collect all those prayers, and people will go in and they will pray over your prayers.
Yep.
But at the end of the year, they take all those tags off the wall and they bury them somewhere in Franklin, in the community.
In community projects, because the new Nissan Stadium, the Titan Stadium, we were just down there a few weeks ago, and the owner was talking about last year's tags. We asked her, because the kids were like, here, we told the story to them, and we went up and asked, and she's like, oh, yeah, the owner took it to the new Titan Stadium, and in the ground where they dug it all up and built the new stadium, they put all these prayers, buried them in the state of Tennessee. That's really cool. I mean, and that's just an example. I mean, other places do really cool things too, but sorry, I don't know where you were going with that.
Oh,
it's because of my philanthropy.
Okay. Philanthropy.
So, if God blessed you with an extra $100, what do you do with that?
Most people would pay off debt.
If God blessed you with an extra $10,000, what would you do?
I think most people would still pay off debt.
Well, yeah, because the average household income has $60,000 of credit card debt. That's the average, I think, was the stat I read not too long ago.
So let's say, what if God blessed you with an extra $100,000?
Yeah.
What would you do?
And
debt's gone.
Yeah, that's you're finished.
Where would you give the other $40,000?
Yeah, and I think that's where people need to kind of start shifting their mindset. There was another saying that we heard a long time ago, is to give out of your heart, not out of your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel called to give to something, give to it. And it's not about, oh, look at me. I mean, the last episode, we talked about fasting. It's not about telling people publicly, I'm doing this. It's not about that. God doesn't want that to be, like, you shouldn't even be talking about it, really. It's a private matter. But
it's between you and God.
But it's the same thing about giving anonymously. Is private. We have countless people that we know that give more money than I make in a year.
Actually, I really want to share a personal story.
Okay.
Our daughter, Faith is her name, at Thanksgiving, wanted to make sandwiches and give them to the homeless that live in and around the area. Yeah. And so on the way home, so she got up one morning.
I remember this day.
We made like 3 sandwiches, 3 bags of chips, like put a bunch of stuff in these bags. And we're driving by and we see a homeless person on the side of the road. And so we're like, no, we gotta stop. We gotta give him this food. And Brian ended up taking the longest way around to get back to
I'm in one lane, and then you get on the 4 lane, and I'm like, this is not happening, people. It's like I'm driving a school bus, so you're not just shifting lanes like I'm in a little Scion TC or whatever.
You were shifting lanes like that earlier today on the way to church.
But the fact was, I have to edit that part out. The fact was that Faith wanted to get out and to give. Giving from abundance. Giving, I mean, it was just, hey, I have this, and I want to take care of these people that we see on a regular basis.
And we wanted to foster that. So we said, okay, you get up, you fix the sandwiches, you put the meals together. Yeah. We'll do it for sure. But we want to teach them what that looks like. And when we were over in Tennessee a few weeks ago, I felt this nudge to give a really good tip to someone.
So many background noise over in this episode. Hopefully people will get to hear these things. This is our household. It's fine. You wanted to give a tip. This is life. It's okay.
The kids were like, Mom, what are you doing with that? And I was like, well, I feel really called to give this person a tip. And they're like, let me. And so then it turned into this big thing. And I was like, no, this is something that we need to do quietly. Like, this isn't something that you just do and then talk about.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think about a story a friend of ours had talked about when they go to dinner, and it's like, oh, this is going to be a life-changing, like starting to write the tip, and his wife is like, and he's like, oh, this is going to be a life-changing night type of a tip.
Yeah.
Those are really cool stories.
Right.
And it's not just tipping. I mean, it could be, you hear about the gratitude and like getting the person's coffee behind you. And like that's a hilarious one about the police officer behind you. Kersha's at Chick-fil-A, want to pay for the police officer behind her.
Okay, he let me over into the turn lane, and I was kind of like between both lanes, and he got over behind me so that I could get all the way over. And so then I'm in the Chick-fil-A line, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to pay for the cop behind me. And
He had a mobile order to
we
pick
got
up.
a mobile
He already paid for it.
So I yelled out the window, and I was like, hey, stop buying your own meals so that citizens can buy you lunch. And he was laughing. He was like, do you know how many times people try to offer to buy me food? I was like, yeah, stop doing mobile orders.
Yeah, that's fine.
Take a free
Yeah.
meal, man.
So, okay, so the philanthropy piece. Let's get back on track. Sorry. We'll get
I
too
these
far
are
into this
great
one.
stories that
Yeah.
we're talking about right now.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, if you even think about your community, I mean, in Kansas City area, specifically where we are, I mean, you have the Kaufman organization, which is huge. There's the Secret Santa that's always talked about. The guy has passed away, and that's a really cool
Whoa.
piece.
There's a Stash the Cash in KC.
And what?
Have you seen that?
A what?
Stash the Cash in
Right.
KC. They put like bundles of 20s together
Cool.
and they hide it,
Shoot.
and you have to go find it. And if you find it, you get it.
Right. Cool. Rock and roll. Well, if you're in Kansas City, there you go. There's a tip for you. But obviously there are people that
I don't have time
that
for this.
have a philanthropy mindset, that have a giving mindset, and they're giving out of abundance. They're not giving out of a lack. I think that is a key. People are like, oh, I don't have any money to give. Great. That's awesome. We didn't either for a while, but you can give time.
Now,
You could give resources.
Matthew 6:3-4, give in secret. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you do give, you don't have to share it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
My one little story that I shared with you about giving a good tip is really just an example. We're not sharing these stories because we want
No.
to gloat
No.
about things. It's just examples of things that we have done. But Luke 16:10 tells us to be faithful in the little. And those who are faithful in the little, to whom much is given, much is required.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you're faithful in the little, you can be faithful in the much.
Yeah.
So radical generosity requires radical trust. God needs to trust you. So when God says, hey, give them $20 or give them some money or do whatever, just do it. And don't think about it. Think about the money in your pocket, the possessions that you have. Everything materialistic and non-materialistic, okay? Everything in liquid or in investments. It's all God's money anyway. God blesses your job. He blesses your health. He blesses your family. He blesses your future. He blessed your past. So just live radically for God and in God and rest in that and knowing, okay, if God wants me to give this person $20,
Yeah.
it's because he knows that they need the $20.
Yeah. It's not for us to judge what they do with it. Like, that's irrelevant.
No, our judgment is, were we obedient?
Correct. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, now let's talk about faith isn't loud. It's consistent. Okay?
Okay.
How we don't need a pulpit to have an impact. I think so many people feel like, and oh, gosh, I could say so many times, I've had 3 friends recently come to us and say, well, I'm just not like you. I'm not that outgoing. How do you know all of these people? And really, they've just kind of turtle-doved into their shell rather than coming out of their shell and realizing that the life of being extrovert is not easy. Like, we still have to face all the same challenges that introverts do.
Well, I was
It's just
spoken today at church that
we face them
extroverts talk a lot. We're quick to talk, slow to listen.
right.
And extroverts are quick to listen and slow to talk. And you're kind of like, are you hearing anything I'm saying? And they're processing all of it.
Right.
It's just they're not going to.
But extroverts have to learn how to be slow to speak and quick to listen.
Correct. 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Wow, you would go there.
It's true.
Wow.
Well, and I think having the pulpit piece, and I can't think of the phrase exactly. You might be able to flesh it out here with me, but like, people can have a lot to say.
Every time you say flush it out, I think of a toilet flushing.
Okay, well, there you go. Or those power toilets that are like, yeah, it scares you to death. That's anyway.
Kind of like dog barking.
Yeah. But it's people will have a lot to say, but you have to earn the right to really be heard. So there's some phrase like that. I can't. I'm butchering it, but in essence, it's talking about people will say a lot.
About a meat market.
People will say a lot, but for those hearing it and retaining it, are you just talking just to talk, or is there actual truth? Is there value? Is there something of substance that you're giving people? And I think there's a lot of people that just
make sure your advice is fruitful.
I stand on the street corner and I'm talking about Jesus. Awesome. They might be called to do that, but do they live that? Are they living that life out, or are they just standing on the street corner? And people are quick to judge as they walk by. Oh, there's that person again. It's like, well, you don't know their story. And do people take time to actually stop and hear their story? Sometimes they don't. I know I'm guilty. I don't do that, but
right.
I think that there's people that feel like, oh, well, the most recent JellyRoll piece that came out, speaking at the Grammys, was people are like,
that was huge.
There were people that were adamantly like cheering in his section. He is telling his story. He is preaching. Like, he has that stage. He's earned the right to be where he is, hands down. Like, he has God opened the doors, given him the talent, given him the connections to people, and the fruit is there. But then there's the other side of it, the naysayers. He shouldn't have been talking about that, blah, blah, blah. And I see both sides of it, but it's irrelevant. He's earned the right to do that.
Well, I don't see both sides, because the people saying he shouldn't be talking about God from stage are the people that need God in their life.
Correct. But I'm saying I understand where they're trying to argue from. That's what I'm not giving them life.
I think that we all we've all done something sinful, and we've all been redeemed by the mercy and grace of God.
Yeah.
Whether or not, like God gives you grace and mercy, even though we can't earn it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even though there are things that we did that we feel like we don't even deserve his grace and mercy. And so I 100% think that, like, I'm so proud of JellyRoll, because he was in jail and had music and a Bible.
Yeah.
And at his lowest place in his life turned to God, and now is showing radical obedience. He's a modern day hero for the people who are in that same path of he did armed robbery.
People that were truly broken. People that, again, we've talked about this in the past, people that are so hard on themselves, I would never step foot into a church, because he would never be able to forgive me for what I've done. I've murdered somebody. I've stolen. I've done, like, go down the list of things. The worst of the worst things that you can think of, God will still forgive.
And those people are here. They're in the Bible too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, no one was perfect.
But JellyRoll stood at such a pivotal point, I think, in today.
I'm glad I could give you this topic. Like, this is great. Like,
in today's history, even, like, he's such a great example of, he came from nothing. He came from just the
politics piece. Well, what about, he's like, we were so broke and poor and drug addicted, there was no talk at their table about red state or blue state or Republican. They didn't care. It was all about where's the next meal coming from? Are the lights going to be kept on? Blah, blah, blah. Like there's so many pieces that we have zero perspective into.
And I hope that at the end of his life, when he enters the gates of heaven, that he is able to see that one, as of right now, he stood at the Grammys one time and talked about how God has blessed him.
Mm-hmm.
And not just through the life he's giving him, the stage he's allowed to speak from, but his wife helped him through a lot. And he even said, I would be dead without you.
Yeah. And he's just speaking
from the heart
to give hope. I mean, he says it, to give hope to y'all. Like, he's like, I just want that person out there listening, watching, whatever, that there is still hope. Hold on to the rope. Like, just one more time. Like, it's just don't let go of it. So, sorry, I got kind of on a tangent there.
Good.
And if anybody knows JellyRoll in our community, forward this to him, man. We love that guy. Like, and I love what he shared. Like, that is from the heart. And again, you can't argue it. It is, that is truth.
Right. So, let's just wrap up with this. Faith moves before fear disappears.
Faith moves before fear disappears. Okay.
In everything that we have to do, we have to step out on faith.
Correct.
And then the fear will disappear.
Yeah.
Through our action.
Yeah.
Faith without action is not faith.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
I mean, we're still on the JellyRoll topic you're talking about. Like, I would love to have a conversation with him of how did he take that first step to start recording music or to write a song. Like, those songs were written into his heart. Like, him being in those, like, I can't even imagine that feeling, but that was written on his heart, and God spoke that into him, and he is speaking it out. And I know we're using him as an example right here on this kind of back end of today.
But his obedience strengthens somebody else's belief.
Correct. And I think, we've had time, around some other major performers, major singers, and it's like the heart of these people is just to give hope and encouragement. And that was a conversation I had this past week with Chris. And he's like, hope is the name. Like, if somebody can listen to something and hope is sparked in them, even if I'm in a crowd of 10,000 people and 2 people came to know the Lord, or it just sparked questions in them and they were saved. He's like, and that's kind of the same work here for us. Like, our podcast, God has put this on our heart to kick it out there for hope and encouraging people. We don't know the ripple effect of all of this, but at the end of the day, if the investment, the time, the energy we've put into this, if there's one person that comes to Christ through this, it's been a success, because that's one more person in heaven that wouldn't have gotten there had it not been from this. And there's so many other platforms out there. You think about the music industry, the podcasts, the books, just go down the list of things. If you're willing to step out, and the philanthropy piece too, going back to the very beginning of this, kind of tying a bow on this, there was a funny saying about, I've never had a broke man give me a job. I've never been hired by a broke man. You're always hired by somebody that's wealthy,
right?
That took a risk. And Jacelyn has always told me this too. And she kind of like, but when we were in Tennessee, we were driving around talking about it. And it was you will either chase your dreams, you'll either pursue your dreams, or you'll work for somebody who did. And that piece, I'm not just saying it's about just employments or money or things like that, but it's those people that stepped out on faith, that took that risk. God sees that, and then God blesses it. And then if you're trusted in a little, God will exorbitantly, is that even a word? Exorbitantly?
Yeah.
Exorbitantly grow that piece to then let the impact just fall all over. And the beauty is you get to decide what do you want to do. And like I was saying earlier, it's like giving where your heart says to give, not, ooh, I don't have that to give. Sorry, I can't do that for you.
Yep.
So again, If something was of impact today, please forward this along. That is the goal of this, is just to give hope and encouragement to those around us. Again, if anyone in our community knows JellyRoll, fire this off to him. That would be awesome. We would love it. We'll have to have Chris tag him in this. But until next time, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Crazy Unbelievable Faith. Take care.
Bye.